All right, rock and roll. Here we are. Score Thirds podcast for Sunday, March 10th, 2025. And I hope your day's off to a good and happy start. One more day till work. Boy, those weekends, they sure go quick, don't they? But I don't know if any of you happened to catch Saturday Night Live last night, but boy, they sure hit the mark pretty good. The cold opening was Trump in the Oval Office with Rubio and Elon Musk, who was played by Mike Myers, and he channeled his inner Dr. Evil. And there was a funny little segment out of it, and in it, Trump's talking, and then Rubio goes, "You know, I've been negotiating behind the scenes for Panama. I've almost got us to take it back." And then Trump looks at him and goes, "You know, I don't really care about that. I like Thailand. I've been watching White Lotus. I think Thailand's where we ought to start focusing our energies." And I was thinking, man, you couldn't have hit the nail more squarely on the head, huh? All right. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, John. If you could kindly hit the like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. Leave some comments. Live on the wild side. You know, we're heading through March. God, I think this week is going to be the Ides of March. Wow. Beware Caesar, beware Caesar. And as we're off and running, take no prisoners. We're telling no lies. So yesterday, Saturday, House Speaker Mike Johnson formally unveiled plans for a government funding stopgap through September. So what happens is the budget actually comes out for the fiscal year in September. That's when they make the budget. And when they can't really come to a budget, they do these stopgap things, which fund the government for 4 to 6 months. And then they kind of keep pushing the ball away, right? Keep doing it. Well, that's what they're doing. But the due date is this week, March 14th, when the funding supposedly runs out. So what they're trying to do is get through this tentative budget, get the funding authorized so that they can kind of fill in the pieces afterwards, right? Now, on the tentative budget that they proposed on Saturday, there's $13 billion in domestic cuts, and they're adding $6 billion to defense. I looked at that, and maybe I'm the only person in the world, but I was just like, well, I thought they were cutting $1 trillion. You know, Elon said he was going to cut 2, but then he was probably going to end up with 1. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, they're cutting $7 billion? I mean, okay, I guess this is where we're at. Now, they also want new money for deportations, anywhere between $4 and $5 billion. So really, there is no savings. The budget is the same as it was last year. And to me, I don't even understand what the budget means unless Congress mans up and tells the president, when we authorize money, you got to spend it. You know, they're basically just a bunch of submissives to this guy and going, well, whatever you say, even if it is against the law. Now, they hold a 2-seat advantage in the House of Representatives to get this budget passed, but there's anywhere between 2 and 4 ultra-conservatives who will never vote for a budget that has a deficit. Well, this is going to have a huge deficit, somewhere about $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion, right? So they need Democrats to come over and join. They need Democrats to be, we're going to keep the government going. We don't want to be the party of stopping it. And Hakeem Jeffries came out yesterday and said, well, I'm against this. I'm against this thing. And this dude's got to grow a pair. Okay, straight up. You got to just tell your entire conference, you want money from our DNC, you want money for your fundraising, you want donor list, you want that to get reelected. We're all saying no. Now, what's happening is there's a bunch of moderate Democrats out there who are like, well, we don't want to be blamed for shutting down the government. Oh. But that doesn't happen. Because the Republicans have, wait for this, Democrats, they got the advantage in the House. the Senate, and the presidency. How can they blame us? And literally, I saw 4 or 5 House representative members who were like, well, I'm still debating it. That's code for I'm going to vote for this bill. Jesus Christ, at some point, do you not see what's going on? You toothless mother effers? I mean, at some point, first of all, no matter what budget you pass, we don't know if Trump's actually going to let the money go through, right? You know, we have all these Doge cuts. Where is all this money? Where is all this money going? Where is it now? You know, they're just holding it up. I mean, I don't even understand how that works. And nobody, and believe me, I've looked at 50 to 60 articles. Most of them have pictures. Okay, I'll put that in there. But at the end of the day, we don't know where all these Doge cuts, where's that money going? You know, they told us tentatively, oh, we were all going to get a Doge refund and it's going to go down to pay the deficit. Haven't seen any accounting of that. Nothing. Not one effing cent. Okay? I adamantly and fervently am going to be ball busting on the Democrats. They cannot vote for this plan. They cannot help the Republicans in any way, shape, or form. You know, the problem with the party is, like there's many, is these consultants get in their ear, strategists, and say, well, the polling on this doesn't show very well. Just grow. Just grow a pair. Just have a backbone. Just do something. Stand for goddamn something, okay? Barack Obama stood for something. Okay? That guy, when he first got into the Senate, he was one of 5 senators who voted against the Iraq war. Okay? That was political suicide. At that time, if you remember, George Bush, who was cratering in the polls after 9/11, he had like a 90% approval rating. He went to Congress, said, we got to go to Afghanistan. We got to go to Iraq. And everybody just jumped in bed. The people with backbone, the Bernie Sanders, the Barack Obama. Barack Obama won the presidency that day. Okay? That was a career killer on a career killer because, like I said, only 5 senators voted against going over there, right? Well, he turned out to be right. And in 2008, when he ran for president, that's what he billy clubbed Hillary Rodham Clinton with, that she voted for the war. She was the senator from New York, and man, she couldn't lead the parade quick enough. Oh, we got to go over there. We got to stop Saddam Hussein. We got to get those weapons of mass destruction. Idiot, idiot, idiot. And that, that cost her the presidency. It's what it is, right? At the end of the day, the Democrats should not lay down. They shouldn't give them one effing vote. Not one effing vote. Make their lives miserable. If it doesn't pass, it's because the Republicans couldn't get their own caucus to vote for it. That's it. Bottom line, okay? Son of a bitch. All right, I'm getting worked up. I don't even know if I made the 10-minute time limit, but I'm trying. All right. Last Wednesday, the Trump DOJ filed a motion to dismiss a case that started under the Biden administration, which would protect doctors and hospitals who perform emergency abortions. Basically, this is called the Idaho case. And Trump, when he was running for president, said, oh, I'm going to be the biggest protector of women and reproductive rights there is. And I'm going to protect. And then, the other side of his mouth, he was telling the conservatives and the evangelicals, well, I'm the one who got the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. Okay. At the end of the day, men are equally as responsible. But boy, women who voted for Trump, you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't even know how you can look at yourself in the mirror, okay? Because you have not only betrayed yourself. If you didn't want the rights, you should at least allow your sisters, your moms, your aunts, your cousins to have that right, that basic human right. And that's what the goddamn it is. It is a human right. Women should have control over their body. And the same people who are telling you, oh, you can't do that, are the same ones who said, I'm not taking the vaccine. Oh, wait, this just in, they're white men. Yeah, okay. White privilege. Here we go, right? So what happened was back in 2022, Idaho passed a law that said doctors and hospitals could be prosecuted legally and criminally for performing abortions even when the mother's life was threatened. Okay? So what did these hospitals do? They had to airlift these medically compromised, let's put it that way, women whose life was threatened to other states so that they could get things to save their life. Now, I don't think I'm going to be saying the word right. There's a necropic. I know I'm not saying the word right, but just hear me out, okay? Hey, I'm not using the word Kiev, okay? God dang it. You keep beating me over the head with it, and justifiably so. There's a point where the fetus is unviable. It can never be resuscitated. And all it does is it threatens the mother's life. And this usually comes in the last term, okay? I'm sure it happens in the first and second. Don't start inundating. Well, go ahead and inundate me with those. That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. So I can push back on you. But at the end of the day, these women's lives are threatened. I've told you before the story of my niece, okay, 27 years old, got pregnant in Arizona, had a miscarriage. Arizona would not allow her to remove the fetus, the dead fetus, out of her body. The doctors told her she had to go to California or Colorado or another state where she could have it removed to save her life. This is America in 2025. Trump has just acquiesced on this lawsuit. So now he's going to let the Idaho ruling stand. Now, does it filter across the United States? I don't know. But, it's, I don't know. At the end of the day, you just shake your head. And I know this is a different little podcast, but goddamn, don't you have any empathy for another human being? I mean, if you're a male and you only want to think about your prick self, go ahead. Okay? You could be the a-hole. There's plenty of them out there, but at least have a little sympathy and empathy for what women go through. They say that men, if they had to endure the pain of childbirth, they would die. Well, they probably die because they're all a bunch of pussies. Women are the real backbone in our society, and it still disgusts me and makes me sick that after 250 goddamn years, we still don't have a woman president. But you know what? Don't worry. Don't worry. Maybe Christy Whitmer will get there. I don't know. All right. Odd things in the news. IRS refunds are very possibly going to be delayed because of the 10% cut in staffing at the IRS. Now listen to this stat. Biden increased funding for the IRS, right? In the Build Back Better America plan. And the Republicans said, it's going to be more audits. It's going to be more audits. Blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, what the money went to is staffing. Now, listen to this. The Congressional Budget Office said that under the Biden administration, the IRS cut phone wait times from 28 minutes to 3 minutes. Let me tell you something. 3 minutes to get a hold of an IRS agent? I can't get a hold of Spectrum, and we have all know my little problem with Spectrum and the sound of my cable TV, right? I can't get a hold of them even when I say representative. You literally can't get to a human for 10 minutes. I almost don't believe this number. It's insane. 3 minutes a wait? But then again, on the other side, who really wants to talk to the IRS agent? But, hey, whatever. I guess if you need to, it's kind of nice. CBS News is reporting. Oh, this is another great story. We got nothing but good stories here for your Sunday morning. You can go from here to Meet the Press, right? CBS's Nation. The Russian forces of Vladimir Putin have increased their drone strikes and missile strikes on Ukraine in the past week. Okay. At least 20 people died on Saturday. Okay. Under heavy Russian aerial and artillery attacks, right? Now, this comes as a coincidence at the same time the United States has stopped giving intelligence information to the Ukrainians about the whereabouts of drone launch sites, artillery sites, so they can defend themselves. So Trump, after the meeting went sideways in the Oval Office 10 days ago, on that Friday afternoon, said, you know what, we're not going to share intelligence with them. This just in, there's USA citizens over there doing work, volunteer work to help the Ukrainians. Now, we haven't been told if they were in that hotel strike on Saturday, but I hope they weren't, but honestly, I hope nobody was. You know? This week, in the last 7 days, Russia has attacked 2 hospitals and 1 child's cancer center in Ukraine. Ah, man. Just going good. Just going good. All right. We're going to finish it up with another little odd thing in the news. Let's just keep going on our little progressive rant today. Yesterday, South Carolina inmate Gerald Bo Rims was executed by firing squad for the first one in the United States since 2010. Okay. Let's do a deeper dive. That's what we like to do here, right? So his attorney who witnessed it said the death was horrifying and violent. Yeah, a guy. I don't know if you've ever seen a shooting. I have been at a place after a shooting, and one day I'm going to tell you about how the government covered up one of the great shootings in Southern California history. And I got to write that one down. It just came to me. But I walked through the facility and literally saw blood splattered all over the wall. You know, these guns now are so horrific. They're so violent. When they shoot you, it's not like the old Western when you go, oh, put some mud on it, Fred. Put some mud on it, Fred. And then you just walk off. Man, they literally, when they hit your arm, they blow off your arm. There's no messing around. We saw that with the Vegas shooting. People were losing limbs left and right. You know, they may have survived, but sorry, you know, you only got one leg. So his choices in South Carolina were lethal injection, which we know can go terrifyingly wrong. We've seen so many instances, I believe, in Alabama and Georgia. We've seen instances where literally after they put the fluid in them, it takes them 2 hours to die, and it is an excruciating death because they don't do anything. They just sit there and watch until the pulse is gone. Or the electric chair, which we all saw the Green Mile, and we know that don't go too well. So he made the choice. Now, why did he make this choice? Is because he asked the state government of South Carolina if they could verify with his attorney that the chemicals they were going to put into him were, wait for it, were, where am I looking at? Oh, weren't expired, diluted, or spoiled. What he wanted was that they still had a valid expiration date. And South Carolina wouldn't agree. No, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you. So you can take medicine. We have expiration dates, but the stuff we're going to put in your body to kill you, we're not going to just tell you if it's still legally viable. Wow. Okay. I am anti-death penalty. Let's get that right now. I used to be the hardcore hawk. I used to be the guy, fry them, burn them, turn them and burn them, the whole thing. And then something weird happened on the way to my enlightenment and my epiphany. In 2000, Illinois Governor George Ryan stopped the death penalty in his state when they exonerated 13 people after they had killed 12 people in the years previous. So they killed 12, but then they found on death row 13 people because of DNA evidence were actually innocent. Oh, okay. Now, for all you people who say, well, you know, they did something. Well, okay, maybe they did, but does it deserve the death penalty? The National Academy of Science, basing it on the DNA database for all 50 states, what they know from death row, how many people do you think out of 8 they say are innocent? They have put out that 1 in 8 people on death row is innocent, just from DNA. I'm not talking about all the other stuff. You know, if you look at, like, I want to say, and you everybody out there, if you're listening to this, you're probably a newsie. You're listening, but I want to say there's 4 or 5 times a year where I look on the news and some poor gentleman who's incarcerated for 28 years just got out, or 15 years, and he was on death row, and I was like, wow, it does happen. And at the end of the day, I'm pro-police, okay? I'm pro-police. I'm down with it. But they can spend the time in jail, okay? I don't want to kill innocent people. And I'm not saying living your life in jail for the rest of your life is actually living, but I don't think society should sanction that, okay? That's the bottom line. Whatever you want to say. That's my piece. If you got a problem with it, you leave it in the comments. If you dare, you wussies. All right, hit that like and subscribe unless you don't like what I say, and then you can just go ahead and leave. All right, I appreciate your time. You know, I always enjoy spending it with you. I like that we grow together. I like that we have a common cause. Don't be sad, because tomorrow we'll be back and we'll be taking on more issues. I want you to go have a good Sunday, and I'll see you soon.